Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. APW Sports signing in. And today's video, we're going to be reacting to an article that has the projected best rosters after the early part of free agency. Now, it's been a couple of weeks. We still got a lot of more free agency to go. But we're going to react to an article that's basically ranking who has the best rosters now as we're leading up into the NFL draft, this part of free agency period as we start right now. But before I get into that, make sure you guys leave this video a like as it continues to help this channel to grow, and click the subscribe button and notification bell so you do not miss any of the videos that I post. Let's just get right into it. Today's video is being brought to you by SeatGeek. Yes, football season is over, but you still have the NBA season, you still have baseball right around the corner, concerts, comedy shows. SeatGeek is your place to get your tickets. Now, let's just say I want to go to an upcoming Chicago Bulls game, me being from Chicago, and I'm going to go to that Bulls game. I'm going to select 2 tickets, and the green means good seats and good deals. The red means bad deals, and the tickets are graded on a scale of 1 through 10. And if you want to get your tickets to go to anything today, and make sure you click the link in the description and use code APW Sports for 10% at checkout. Once again, click the link in the description to save yourself 10% at checkout with SeatGeek. Now, let's get back to the video. Now, this article, March 16th, is a couple of days later, so if it's anything different, apologize for that, but I'm a little bit late reacting to it. It has some stuff going on. Not bad, but just stuff going on. So let's just get right into it. But first, they're going to have the honorable mention, the Baltimore Ravens. I think it's a very good roster. You lose Isaiah Likely, well, Tyler Lindenbaum, you lost. You lost Trey Jones. You lost Isaiah Likely. You lost Gilman. You lost Ricard. Coaching change. Jesse Minter's now the head coach. Matabike is good. You add Trey Hendrickson in free agency, so I like where that. New England Patriots, I still think they can use some wide receiver help. It's interesting to see where they're going to do with the A.J. Brown situation, what they're going to do with that. Maybe boost their offensive line at some point and just let the guys develop. Maybe you can still use some pass rushing help. So, and then they add Kevin Byard from my Bears in free agency. So, it's interesting to see that. Pittsburgh Steelers, I mean, maybe, well, with that quarterback situation, you got to figure out what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. You got to figure that out. Defensively, I still think this is an older football team on the defensive side of the ball. And they add Jamel Dean in free agency, and I really like that move. But number 10 is the San Francisco 49ers. Now, this is interesting. I think they already have a great roster. And the reason I think they didn't succeed in the offs or the playoffs was because of all the injury. Now, it's probably looking like you're not going to have George Kittle for most, if at all, this season because of the Achilles injury. Trey Williams, you got to figure out what you're going to do with that. Is he going to come back? Well, you got to work that out. Chris McCaffrey, Fred Warner coming back, Nick Bosa coming back. You got Brock Purdy on your roster. You add Mike Evans in free agency. You also add Christian Kirk at the wide receiver position, so you boosted your offense. So I really like this roster. Now, what they're going to do with tight end, it's interesting to see because, like I said, I don't think Kittle is going to play it much, if at all, in 2026. That might be a big thing that a lot of people I've seen in media circles are kind of forgetting about or have not mentioned, but Kittle's probably not going to play it. So we shall see. Number 9 is the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, they do get Rashawn Slater back. He's basically didn't play last year with the injury. Joe Alt got hurt during the middle of last year. A center and what's his name? The center from Biadiz, I think Biadiz or whatever, I think he got signed there. You bring back Khalil Mack, you have Derwin James, Dante Jackson, you got a really good quarterback in Justin Herbert. So I think a lot of them, and then of course you have Amari Hampton-Lamb-McConkey. You have a really good roster there, but a lot of theirs is just like their 6 and the failures was kind of due to the Niners, which is a lot of injury. We shall see how this team looks, so we're going to see. But they do lose defensive coordinator Jesse Minter to Baltimore. Houston Texans, I still think they have one of the best defenses in the league. You have Derek Stingley Jr., you have Kamari Lassiter, you have Kalen Bullock, you have Jalen Petre, you have really good defense, Will Anderson Jr., Daniil Hunter, who they paid this offseason. My question with this, and you also add David Montgomery to this roster, my big question with them is still the offensive line. I still have questions about their offensive line. Now, we get it, and they also added Reed Blankenship as well to their defense, but their offensive line. They did have Braden Smith, but I still have questions about their offensive line. They needed a running game, which they brought David Montgomery for. I hope that could be a boost with Marks as well in the backfield. So, but that offensive line, I'm still going to have to I think they're still going to have to add to it or do some things around to make that offensive line. Next is my Chicago Bears. I'm actually surprised they're here, because the Bears don't get a lot of love from media circles. Let's be honest. I can talk about the Bears all day. Monangai, Swift in the backfield, Caleb Williams coming off of a tremendous second season. Loveland, Odunze, they did trade DJ Moore. They do lose a lot in the secondary, but if you go back and watch my last Bears weekly episode, they all got one-year deals, and there's a reason. One of the bottom half defenses in the league. So you add Kobe Bryant, you add Devin Bush, you add Neville Gallimore, and Jaylon Johnson and Kyler Gordon are going to be healthy coming into the season as they were not coming into last year. I think this Bears roster I think it still could use some pass rush help. I still think it use some safety, and I still think it use some linebacker depth despite them signing Jack Sanborn back, because Noah Sewell, we're going to see how he's going to come back from injury. Same as TJ Edwards, both suffered season-ending injuries late. We're going to see how that comes back, but I like this Bears roster. Really young, talented football team, and it still has a lot of room to grow. So I like this one. You got Joe Thuney, you got Jonah Jackson. You lose Drew Darman, but you ended up getting Garrett Bradbury on your offensive line. I still like this roster. I really like this roster. And you had Khalif Raymond in special teams. I really like. Next is the Detroit Lions. I think this is a really good roster. You got Gibbs. You did trade David Montgomery, but you signed Isaiah Pacheco. You got Jared Goff, who's been MVP candidate and plays at MVP level when he's hot. You got a defense that with Aiden Hutchinson leading the charge, Tyler Williams in the interior. You got Laporta coming back from injury. I like this roster. I really like this roster. Do I think it's better than the Bears roster? In some ways, yes. In some ways, it is. I will say that. Some ways, yes. You got Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch, who's coming back from injury, which I think is going to boost them. Jack Campbell had a really good season last year. So I think this is a really good roster that I think is slightly better than the Bears. Slightly, and I think this is perfect fitting for them to be on this list. Number 5 is the Seattle Seahawks. Now, they did lose a good amount of players. You lose Tariq Woolen. You lose Kobe Bryant to the Bears. You lose Boye Mafe. You lose Kenneth Walker. But they did just pay my boy Jackson Smith-Njigba. And you got Shaq Charbonnet, who's recovering from an ACL injury, which we'll have to see how their running game is probably going to fix up. It's interesting to see. It's very interesting to see. I think the biggest problem for them will be the backfield now. So we shall see. We shall see about them in this running game. But I like the Seahawks as a football team. They got a great offensive line, great defensive-minded head coach in McDonald. They got a lot of pieces on that linebacking core. You can still have Leonard Williams up front, who had a tremendous year. DeMarcus Lawrence, he had a very good year. So you lose some pieces, yes. I still think this is a very good football team. Next is the Philadelphia Eagles. I think you trade A.J. Brown, this ranking goes down. And I think they're probably at this point where you're gonna 9 times out of 10 move off of them. I do like their defense. They lost Jalen Phillips, but you have Jalen Carter, you got Jordan Davis. They do lose Reed Blankenship, but you got Cooper DeJean, Quinion Mitchell on the back end of your defense. The offensive line is a little bit older now. You got Lane Johnson, you got Landon Dickerson. The roster on paper, absolutely great roster, but it's like when you look at the names possibly, but when you start to think about it, you bring back Dallas Goedert as well, which I think was a big move. You bring in Hollywood Brown, you bring in Reek Woolen, or you lose Reed Blankenship, you lose Nakobe Dean, though, you lose Jalen Phillips, you got Arnold Ebike, could be a steal for them. So I think it's a really good roster, but I might have the Lions ahead of maybe the Bears too. Maybe. I would put them right in between the Bears and the Lions, me personally, because I think they got a little bit more on the defensive side to offer than the Bears do. The Bears have a little bit more offensively, and the Eagles' strength has been their defense. Next, the Buffalo Bills. This is interesting to have the Bills this high. Of course, you got Josh Allen, James Cook. Of course, you have them. You add DJ Moore in the trade. You add Bradley Chubb, which I think was a big-time deal. You add C.J. Gardner-Johnson to be versatile in your defensive end, or the defensive backfield, Geno Stone. I still think this team I don't know. I might have Philly above them, or I might have Detroit above them. But they have the quarterback to make everything better. They have the quarterback with Josh Allen. Got Deion Dawkins, Connor McGovern. I still think you could use a bit of a playmaker or two at wide receiver. I still think you could use a little bit more in your secondary, especially on the corners. So we shall see, but I think this is a roster that's a really good roster. Next, number 2 is the Denver Broncos. Woo, they do have a roster. Now you think about it. They lost John Franklin Myers. They lost Drake Greenlaw. I think when you got that dominant offensive line with Bowles, with guys like Quinn Miniards, you got Bo Nix, who's coming into year 3. You add Jalen Waddle on your offensive save for weaponry. You got a guy like a J.K. Diamond. You got R.J. Harvey in your backfield. I think this is a very, very talented roster. I don't want to spoil who I think is probably going to be at number 1. You have an excellent roster. And you got a great coach. You got Vance Joseph defensively. You got Nick Bonito, you got Jonathan Cooper, you got Zach Allen, you got Patrick Surtain II, who I personally still think is the best quarter, who Fonga came in and played some excellent defense for them. Like I've said before, I think if this team has Bo Nix in the AFC Championship game, they are the ones that's in the Super Bowl facing Seattle. Honestly, I think that was one injury away. I really believe so. Sutton and Waddle will be a great deal. So I really believe this. And number one, yeah, LA Rams. I think this is the best roster in football. I personally believe so. The reigning MVP Stafford, Puka, Devontae Adams, and then you add Trent McDuffie. You add Jaylon Watson to the back end of your defense that really needed help. You got Kyron Williams in the running game. You got a really solid offensive line. I love this. This is the best roster in football. Kobe Turner, Brian Young, Jared Verse, Brandon Fisk, all in your front. This is the best roster in football. And I think this is a year where the Rams should be, or probably should be, looking at Super Bowl of blessings. Only thing is if Matthew Stafford regresses, which I don't see happening. But this is the best roster in football. I agree with this. This is the best roster in the NFL. Point blank, period. But that's all I have. Make sure you guys leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Who do you think is the best roster in football? Leave it in the comment section down below. I am APW Sports signing out, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.